Hey, we're gonna try this talking at a camera thing. I want to do a little devlog on what I've been working on this past week, and what that is has been WP Peeps, and this is a plugin that I got inspired to build after watching Nick Diego uh, show off his Your People plugin that he created to show off how block bindings work in the latest version of WordPress. And essentially, what he had done was create a custom post type, create some meta, and assign those meta fields to some editor fields, uh, and then use those editor fields to output in through block binding. I saw that and I was like, oh, light bulb went off, and I was like, I've been wanting to build this uh, WP Peeps plugin, which is essentially a people plugin, a plugin for storing people on your WordPress site for things like an employee directory or staff team, that type of situation, and output it in a certain way. So I kind of took the idea that I saw there and I applied it to my own plugin, WP Peeps here, and I've been working on it for the past week. So what is it? Well, it's a plugin. When you activate it, you get this custom post type, name people, and I've already populated this with a bunch of demo content. And then when you go into people and you click add a new person, you get this lovely editor, the block editor here. So I've registered a whole bunch of meta fields to kind of store information about people. So we have first name, middle name, last name, and kind of the way that this works is we actually registered the meta, and then I am mapping that meta to these fields over in the editor. And actually, if we go look at some code here, yeah, this is gonna be a little bit of a devlog. So we're gonna show a little bit of code, a little bit of what the plugin does, and yeah, just kind of get you up to speed with what I've been working on. So what we're doing over here is I'm actually mapping them to, we got some validation up there, but yeah, we have all these text controls and this plugin document settings, and we are registering this all the way down here at the bottom to display. So we're basically saying, hey, show me all these fields, and I've told it to only show on this post type, and map them to the meta. So go get me the meta and update the first name, last name, and all that. So if we go back over here, you see we don't have a title. I'm hiding that on purpose. We do support it in the custom post type, which we need to for certain query loops to work correctly. But we've hidden it with some styles because we are going to dynamically generate it with the name. So if I type in my name here, H-O-Y-T, Phil Hoyt, you can actually see the slug has already updated to Phil Hoyt. And if I add my middle initial here, W, it's already here. And if I hit publish and I go to the front end, you'll see that I have my name here. And that's fantastic. And we love that. So we can keep some consistency with our posts and the name. So we don't need to, type in the name multiple times. We don't need to add it to the first name, middle name, last name, and then create the title based on the name. And if their name gets updated in the future, I don't know why my name would change, but maybe I take my wife's last name, and now my last name is Board, and it updates dynamically. So yeah, let's change that back to Phil Hoyt. And yeah, we have a couple other fields here that we created. Again, these are meta fields that are just mapped to these editor fields. And we can go into here and go to web dev, and we'll put in a phone number. And we can put in an email address. Oh, phil@email.com. And then, yeah, if we hit save again, go to the front end. We actually got to figure out what's going on here. These are not supposed to be here. Well, yeah, again, early development. Only working on this for a week. These are interesting, but I can show you how these work here in a moment. And yeah, I've created some custom blocks to output this. So if we actually go back to this side, I can actually, here, we'll give, put a little bio in here too, just a little lorem ipsum. But yeah, I created some custom blocks as well to then populate these meta fields into them. So we can also use these in the query loop, and we can also use these in the single template, and put these kind of wherever we want people to display. And we can turn off the middle name, last name. Maybe you want to display this in some fancy way where you just have the first name and then maybe you put the last name somewhere else and all that good stuff. So you can also link it so it links back to the single of this page. Open a new tab, all that good stuff. Everything you kind of expect out of like a heading tag. No, kind of, heading tag clearly can't be a link, but how a post title works. So you can also change its heading level. So we can get, heading 1 through 6. I also give you a couple options for div and paragraph. We have all the topography settings that you'd want. So you can change the font sizes. You got all the other ones in here, case sizing, all that good stuff, letter case, padding and margin. And yeah, so we also have one for, let's just go through these one by one. I actually did not, funny enough, I was inspired by block bindings and I didn't end up really using block bindings. And I'm actually on the fence of whether I want to keep job title or not, because right now this feels like a very generic way to store people information. And that's not always for staff or employees. This could be, teammates for a sporting team or something else. And job title feels very, you're kind of painted into a corner there. So, but to kind of show, actually show how block bindings work, we have a paragraph tag here and we go to attributes. This is all in core here. This is nothing that I did. This is just what 6.7 can do. Click content. If we click content, we click this again. We can go over here and hey, we're seeing all of our meta already. But because I didn't create a custom block for job title yet, and I don't know if I will, we can just click this. And now it's populated with what my job title is. And I can go back over here, developer, and it automatically updates and it looks really nice. I'm, big fan of that. So here, let's make this a little bigger just so we can make that stand out. So we'll put that back in an Excel. But we do have other blocks. So let's go to phone number. So I created one for phone number. And you can see there, I added a way to add a prefix. So if you wanted this, and this is the main reason why I didn't use block bindings, is because I wanted to add prefixes and I wanted those to conditionally show. So if there is no phone number, of course, I don't want that to show. And we can link that phone number and that'll give it the little tell prefix on the URL. So you can open this up on your phone and it'll automatically open it up into your dialer. Same thing with email. And we can, of course, prefix this again, email. And we can make it clickable. And again, yep, these all have all the same topography settings that you would come to expect out of like a paragraph tag or something like that. You can align these in different ways, all that good stuff. And yeah, that is what I've been working on. I think another part of this is social links. And we actually did see a little bug on the front end here, which I'm going to have to document and get solved here. We clearly have no social media links at the moment, but clearly it's outputting some. So I'm going to figure out what's going on there. But we're very in early development. I've only been working on this for about 5 days. But we can add social links over here. And this was kind of a hairball to untangle, and I was kind of happy to kind of get through it. So what we can do over here is add a social media link and just hit add. And it's going to try its best to kind of predict what one we're using. So we're going to add GitHub. And actually, here, we created a custom block to display these as icons. And I wanted this to work as closely as possible to how the social icons block works. I really like how the social icons work. And I actually tried a couple different ways to solve this. I tried to actually create a wrapper block at one point that then tried to populate the social icons dynamically and kind of having like a two-way sync. That didn't end up working. But what I ended up doing was kind of doing this. So we have, here, we're going to hit save. Oh nope, it popped. It just took a second. So still early days, still working on some stuff. So as you can see, yeah, this dynamically updated. And the nice thing about this is that we actually do have most of the same settings that we have for the default social icons. I didn't want this to be a stretch from how the normal social icons work, because again, it works really nicely. You can't do certain things. You can't reorder them over here or anything like that, but we'll get into that here in a moment. But you can, justify them in different ways. You can make it the icon only. You can, of course, change the icon color and the background color. Well, you could at one point. We're doing this live, so yeah, I'm gonna have to go through and kind of fix what's going on there. Apparently something has happened. Oh, maybe I gotta hit save. No, I don't know what's going on there. No worries. Doing this live. We'll figure this out. It was working earlier, not working now. I've been refactoring code. I was up till midnight working on this. So, but what we can do, hopefully this still works, is we can add other social media icons. So I'm going to add my blue sky over here. We're going to add, we're going to hit save. And then it should, there we go. Yeah, take it a second. I have it calling a lot less than I used to. I used to call quite a bit, and I couldn't figure out. Every time I basically like clicked on it or off it, it would go and call and ask for meta. And I turned that off, so it's not as fast as it used to be. So maybe, as you can see, it's like kind of blooping. But yeah, one interesting thing is that, I added some drag and droppers on here so we can restructure it. So right now it's, originally it was GitHub and then Blue Sky. Now I want Blue Sky, then GitHub. I can hit save and then give it a moment. And there we go. Now it's in the order that I want it to be in. And yeah, so all of that these are all just custom blocks that we created. And the way that the social icons work is actually quite interesting. I ended up, again, I tried a couple different ways to solve this. And the way I ended up solving this was essentially recreating the block. So I have the meta saving as an array of arrays, and inside of, and then I'm reconstructing it and reconstructing the social icons block, kind of how if you, how do I describe this? So if I take social icons, the normal one, and I add a few things to it. So let's add GitHub and Twitter, and we hit copy here, and I paste that in somewhere so you can actually see. It'll look like this. Let's boost this up a little bit. So it looks like this markup, with all these comments and all that kind of stuff. So I'm essentially recreating that in code over here, and I'm populating that, and it's outputting through, see, actually, you can even just see how that works. So I have to do a whole bunch of other stuff, which we can get into later. But yeah, I'm essentially recreating that and then outputting that through the block render function. So, which is a way to just, essentially take a chunk of that code, this kind of stuff. You can just do this manually too. Just copy this and put this through the block render function, and then output it. Now that caused some interesting issues because I couldn't figure out, while the correct styles were applying to the block and I was able to pass those in correctly, something really weird was happening, and maybe I'm still going to keep looking into how to solve this. But essentially the orientation, all these layout options, while the correct styles were applying and it looked correct on the front end, in the editor, it wasn't. It just was not, it would not load the dependencies from the social icons, and I couldn't figure out how to make the social icons styles a dependent, this dependent on the social icons. So it basically didn't show up until actually I put in this block on the page, which is very weird. But so I've had to render the some of, not all of, the styles inline on the element, specifically for the layout and justification stuff. So we still get all of these great. So specifically the ones I had to do were for black spacing, all these justifications and layout and wrap. Those were the ones I had to apply manually to the block itself so it would render correctly, because these are all dynamic blocks. These are rendering with PHP. So even on the editor side of this, so if we go to the editor, we're rendering this. So clearly we have all this settings in the sidebar that I added in here. And then the way that we're actually sending this, I'm actually using a server side render, and I'm going and grabbing the this block, and I'm rendering that PHP template dynamically inside of the editor. And that's what we got here. So we got a little load phase. It's supposed to tell you that you don't have one, but that's clearly not working right now. But yeah, you have a lot of the same options that you would normally have. Yeah, so let's delete these actually and kind of look at what we've done with the demo content. I'll leave me, actually. What we do have up here is a featured image, and I'm just going to grab this guy right here and hit save, and then we'll go to the front end. So this is a template that we're just using the latest WordPress theme, I think 2025, and I've created a single template for people. And this is what it looks like. I'm getting my social icons dynamically. I'm getting the phone number and email address and the job title. And all of that just lives over here in your site editor. And yeah, we have, again, that full name block that we created. We have, again, just a paragraph with some block bindings, which I didn't have any involvement in. Thank you, WordPress core contributors. And then, yeah, we have the phone number and email blocks that we created, and of course the social media icons. And again, we can style these however we want. I have to figure out why the icon stopped styling. I was up till midnight goofing on this, so I'm guessing I broke something when I was refactoring some code. And the cool thing about this is that, yeah, this is the single template, but we also have a archive template for this, and it's a completely different style. And we're pulling in the featured image, we're pulling in the first name, we're pulling in the social. And if we go look at the front end here, I created a little fake pagination here. This is just a navigation plus the full name. Here, actually, let's refresh this because we added some content since then. Go to the people. This is the people archive, as you can see here. And yeah, it's just outputting it really nicely. And actually, while we're on the topic of the people archive and this slug here, I created some settings. So we can change this slug directory. So we can say staff instead of people or team or whatever we want this to be. We can hit save. And actually, I even notice you to go to their perma leaks and hit save, because I bet if we hit refresh, oh nope, actually no, it isn't working. Kind of. Did I not hit save yet? No, yeah. Let's just go over here and hit save, and we'll hit refresh. And yeah, see, 404 not found because people doesn't exist anymore. But if we go to staff, it now works. It now lives on staff, so we can change the slug. So if you want this to be different, per your use case, you can go ahead and change that. I think another kind of nice little quality of life thing I've already added is if you go back to settings and you want this back to people, you just click it'll say, hey, this defaults to people. Click on people, and it'll just populate this so you can get back to quick. I also do that with phone number format, which we'll get into in a moment here. Sometimes, and same thing with making it public. I've noticed in recent history, a lot of the people staff directories I've needed created, they don't want the single template rendering. They don't want you to be able to go to people / person's name. For whatever reason, maybe their bios are not super built out. Maybe they don't want a template for that. Often what I've seen recently is, they'll want to query their people, and then they'll have a modal for their bio. That's just a popular thing that's happening right now. I actually got to do like 2 of those in the next couple of weeks for some of the clients. I'm hoping to use this plugin for that, and maybe I can make an update video on how I solved that. But yeah, I thought that's pretty cool. So you can turn off the public viewing aspect of this, and if we go back to all people, as you can see, there's no view here anymore. There's no way to view the the people directly. So here, actually, let's go back to, we change this back to staff, and let's go back to here and hit save. Classic WordPress issue. And yeah, now it's, now we just don't got it. So we have a query, and here, if I try to click into them, they don't go anywhere. They go right back to the homepage. And that's what we want if we have that setting selected. So let's turn this back on to public so we can get all of our people again. We'll go back to here and we'll hit save. So our htaccess file, or however, I think this is actually nginx, so it's not htaccess file, but whatever needs to happen happens. And we can hit refresh and go over to people, and we have people again. And we have our single templates again. So now we can get back to seeing them. I also created this page. This is just a page, and I'm using actually friend, maybe, kind of, I hope. Ryan, if we're not friends, you let me know, but Ryan Welcher, go check him out on Twitter or Twitch and watch his live streams. I watch a lot of stuff. He created this advanced query loop plugin that's available, and there's a lot of other ones out there, and I'm looking forward to playing with them, experimenting with them, and finding ones that do what I want. But I think just for this first initial reaction, I'm using his advanced query loop to output those people, and I wanted to sort them by last name. That's a very common thing. Hey, show me all of my staff and organize them by last name, alphabetically. That is a very typical use case that I get. So, I'm using his block. I'm saying, hey, go get me people. And I did have it ordered by, do I have it down here? Yeah, it's a little complicated, but yeah, so we're going to order posts by meta value, and I've placed the meta value down here in his plugin, meta key, and I'm just using the last name. And we're, of course, doing it ascending. So now it's displaying. And of course, we have this whole different, complete layout. We have a completely different layout, pulling the same exact content, featured image, first name block that I created. And I'm hoping I can make this dynamic. I'm hoping, well, not dynamic, but I'm hoping I can make this pull in their actual name in the near future, and all that good stuff. And, all this right now, I just kind of have it doing, other than the one that is pulling from the block bindings, it is, of course, just this placeholder content. But maybe in the future I can get that working. We're in the early days here. But yeah, we're making a query, telling me go get all the people and sort them by last name. And on the front end now, that's what we got. So I think that's fantastic. And yeah, I used to have to solve this a lot, for different clients over the years. And you'd maybe throw together a custom post type and you'd throw some advanced custom fields on this. I actually even have this really old code, and like the latest comment on it is from 2019. I actually don't remember when I created this, and the revisions are not helping me either. I just don't remember. Maybe there's a way to look at how old this thing is, but whatever, it doesn't matter. But yeah, this is how I used to solve creating the new title and slug, and I don't even think this works anymore because this was for the old editor, and the new editor saves things in a slightly different order than the old one does. But yeah, this is how I used to have to solve that, and you'd make a bespoke solution per. So I'm hoping to really kind of keep developing WP Peeps and making it better, and I can use it in my client work, and release this publicly. I have a GitHub repository for this right now. I got plenty of commits. Don't judge me too hard on the commits. This has been a kind of an ADHD project. I literally am like in my sleep dreaming of how to solve certain problems here, and that's how I've come up with some of the solutions here. So they're a little ad hoc, and I'm hoping to keep polishing. Maybe by the time I release this video, I will create a little pre-release, and I'll have it over here. Because right now, if you wanted to try this, you'd need to pull it down, run npm install npm build, and then plop that over there. There is a there is a way to just get the zip after you do that, so the plugin zip. But I think I'll do all that work for you if you just want to download this and play with this, and see how it works. I'm hoping to get this polished enough to use this in some client work in the next couple weeks, maybe month, and feel good about that. And yeah, and if you want to use it at your own risk, please. I'm new to releasing to the public like this. Normally I put a lot of guardrails on what I build, so it's not I don't need to work with the public all that much. But yeah, I'm gonna try my best to polish this and release this to the public so anybody can use this and keep it going. So I don't know if, I'm going to show one last thing because I just thought this was so cool. So the way, and of course, I'm going to need to probably solve this for international phone numbers because I know not all phone numbers are formatted this way. But that meta field for phone numbers is just saving like a 10 digits, string integer. And then we're formatting it over here. And what that allows us to do is, let's go to the front end here. So we have the front end, we're outputting the phone number. And if we change this, and this was actually a huge solve for me because I actually had a client where I was using just blocks to output all of the, blocks as content, not pulling in meta or anything like that. And all of a sudden the client was like, I don't like how the phone number is formatted. It's formatted exactly how you see here, the old way. And they wanted to use these dots, periods between each section. And I had to go through, it wasn't a lot, but it was like maybe 20 people, and just go through and reformat the phone numbers. And it was just, yeah, it was work. So not what I wanted to be doing for maybe 20 minutes or whatever, but it's what had to happen. But yeah, now I hit save and kablammy, it's formatted. It just does that because we're using meta, and we can just reformat that phone number that way. So yeah, I just think that's pretty cool. And yeah, again, we're going to just save meta. We're going to expose it with these fields, and we're going to populate certain blocks in a particular way to output people. I think I got a lot of problems still to solve. Clearly, you saw a few bugs even in this demo. And I'm hoping to get those solved here before I even put out this video. And yeah, I'll keep making these as long as you're interested and as long as I keep building this. So thanks for hanging in here if you got to the end of this video. This is my first time talking to a camera like this, really, so not my forte. I'm hoping to get better at it if I enjoy it. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.